There's always a lot to do in Tampa, and the city has a great international flair, beautiful architecture, and history. The 1891 Tampa Bay Hotel, now a National Historic Landmark, is home to the University of Tampa and the Henry B. Plant Museum. Plant and the railroad played an important role to put Tampa on the map, and this museum makes you feel like you've been whisked back to the early 19th century. The 2.5 mile long Riverwalk along the Hillsborough River connects downtown restaurants, museums, and parks. At the very end of the Riverwalk, you'll find the restaurant Ulele. The restaurant is housed in what used to be an old waterworks building. They even have their own brewery. Ulele takes its name from a local Native American princess who saved the life of a Spanish explorer nearly 500 years ago. Ulele serves food inspired by the different kinds of cuisine that exist in the area: Italian, Spanish, German, and Cuban. They also use all domestic products, most coming from Florida. The food was just amazing. The lager they make at Ulele has won several awards, and it's super low in carbs but has a lot of taste. There's more to explore at the waterfront. This was one of my favorite ways to see Tampa. And speaking of water, there's also the Florida Aquarium. Personally, I just love aquariums. I can wander around for hours, and the Florida Aquarium has over 20,000 sea creatures and a touch stingray tank. When happy hour rolls around, I'd suggest Ciro's Speakeasy. You need a password to get in. It's dark, cozy, and their craft cocktails are phenomenal. Next, I headed out to the refinery in Seminole Heights. The refinery uses local Florida ingredients and changes the menu several times a week. Chef Greg told me that they never put the same dish back on the menu, so it's always new, innovative, and made from scratch. This was one of the best meals I've ever had. Ybor City has managed to regain its identity. It's still a melting pot with Cuban coffee, cigars, nightclubs, and unique eateries at every corner. And chickens. Cigars are still being made by hand in a few places in Ybor City. There's no shortage of restaurants in Ybor City. The famous Columbia restaurant started here back in 1905. It's the oldest continuously operated restaurant in Florida, one of the largest Spanish restaurants in the world, taking up an entire city block. The Spanish Club in Ybor City is now a restaurant called the Chop House. And how about this one? Bernini. It's an old bank building. Craft beer is booming in this area. Cigar City, of course, is the big one, but there are a lot of other breweries. Lots of them. Maybe that's why they call this funky building in downtown Tampa the Beer Can. Before I left Ybor City, I went to Cuba. No, I really did. The Jose Marti Park is actually Cuban territory. It was time for me to say goodbye to the chickens. So much history and so many stories. It's such a fascinating place to visit. That's why I'll be back.